Afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our final general session of the sixth annual Tri-State Apex Accelerator Mega Matchmaker. It is my honor to introduce and facilitate this session this afternoon. A few housekeeping items before we begin. Please put any questions you have in the chat or the Q&A box, the function, and we will address them at the end. We have some prepared slides to get through, and we have a great speaker here joining us this afternoon. So it is my honor and privilege and pleasure to introduce Mr. Brian McJilton, who serves as the Director of Small Business and the Director of Strategic Partnering Directorate at the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base here in Dayton, Ohio. He leads the directorate that is responsible for overseeing the review of approximately $4.5 billion in procurements across the enterprise, ensuring small business participation is maximized to its fullest extent to meet the demands of our science and technology needs for the Air Force. He focuses on developing novel interactions and programs between AFRL researchers, small businesses, and community partners to provide innovative technologies to meet Air Force requirements and AFRL small business contract award goals. His duties include the identification of small businesses that have capabilities to meet AFRL requirements, outreach, support, and recruitment of small businesses, aligning AFRL scientists and engineers with external science and technology ecosystem members across industry, academia, and other areas, all toward innovative initiatives and the training of scientists, engineers, and contracting officers on the small business program goals and objectives. It is my honor as well to have worked with Mr. McJilton here in Ohio for many years now. He is an incredible partner, and we are so excited to have him here with us today. So without further ado, Brian, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Joey. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody who was attending this event virtually. Today, I'm just going to give you all an overview of AFRL, the small business program, and opportunities, and maybe some helpful hints as you're wanting to start looking at opportunities and working with AFRL. So I'm going to go off screen here in just a minute because I'm having a little bit of network bandwidth issues here. So hopefully my audio will continue to be consistent and very audible for you all. But first thing we're going to do is just show a short video of AFRL, one of our things we're kind of proud of, just showcase a little bit of the technology areas that we work and some of the accomplishments that we've made. So Joey, if we could go ahead and start the video, appreciate it.
Today's world is more connected and moves faster than ever before. But these technological advancements bring more threats to our way of life. With roots tracing back to 1917, the Air Force Research Laboratory continues to deliver technologies with speed, building on its strong foundation of scientific research and innovation to support our warfighters in defending our freedoms. Now, through streamlined processes, digital transformation, and a concerted focus, AFRL accelerates science and technology to meet the Department of the Air Force's priorities and prevail in the future. Supporting the Air Force and Space Force, we are one AFRL, one fight.
All right. Thank you, Joey. If we can go to the next slide, please. And to the next slide. Next slide, please. So while we're waiting for the next slide to show up on screen, I'm still seeing kind of like just the heading intro to the briefing deck. Again, my name is Brian McJilton, Director of AFRL Small Business and currently Acting Director for Strategic Partnering here at the laboratory. And today, again, going to give you an overview of AFRL, how we're structured, where we sit within the AFRL organizational chain, more about the technology area, focus areas that we work, some unique things about our laboratory, our location, and I really want to kind of dive into the small business program here at AFRL and some exciting things that we have to share with you all with regards to some new programs and different ways to connect and engage with us. So as we're still waiting for the slides to transition, I want to get to slide number 3, if we can, which should show the Air Force MAJCOM and center structure. There we go. All right, this is one of the first things I like to start off with, just to give everybody a little bit of understanding of where we sit from an AFRL perspective with respect to the larger Air Force structure. And so if you're familiar with the DoD, with the fact that we've got our joint services consisting of the Army, Navy, Air Force. We also have other things underneath the Air Force area of influence or area of responsibility. And so what I'm showing is a very, very high level diagram of some of the major commands that we have across the Air Force. And we report specifically to the Air Force Materiel Command that is located here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But as you see on this slide, underneath the Air Force Materiel Command, there are 6 other centers that all support AFMC. We are one of those 6 centers. But again, even though we're one and we're located here at Wright-Pat along with AFMC to also include the Lifecycle Management Center, we do have a lot of close collaborations with many of our other centers that you see here on this chart. And I'll get into that a little more detail as we get into more of the slides from a small business perspective. But again, I just want to give you a little bit of perspective of where we sit within the Air Force structure as it relates to supporting the Air Force Materiel Command and the greater Air Force. Next slide. So AFRL is responsible for the development, delivery, and dissemination of S&T science and technology capabilities for the Air Force and for our air warfighting and space warfighting requirements. So with that being said, we are the single laboratory supporting both the Air Force and Space Force to address their needs, both near term, midterm, and far term, which we like to call Epics, Epics 1, 2, and 3, if you're familiar with that terminology. But with regards to AFRL, where we work and what is our mission space, this is just a snapshot of the major areas of research, S&T, science and technology work that we do inside AFRL, starting off with our basic research that is conducted primarily with a number of our universities, both across the U.S. and even abroad in some of the international settings as well. But that is administered out of our Office of Scientific Research, which is in Washington, D.C. And so again, this is really looking at what science is occurring out there in the ecosystem that potentially has a military capability that we can continue to elaborate on that science and turn it into military solutions, meeting some of the gaps that we have both near, midterm, and far. I would say as you're looking at basic research, a lot of the work that we're doing there is really trying to bridge requirements that we see far in the future that are going to be those challenge areas and what science is emerging out there that is going to help us address that. As you look at all these other areas of AFRL, these are called, currently today, these are called technology directorates. So each of those titles that you see there are individual technology directors that we currently have in place within AFRL. And so as I was mentioning, where we start off with basic research, these technology directors now are taking that science that has been identified as possibly or definitely having military applicability, and now turning that science into a technology that we can later translate and transition into a capability for our major Air Force customers. That could be our LCMC, the Lifecycle Management Center, the PEOs that operate underneath LCMC. It could be Sustainment Center. It could be Nuke Weapons Center, or it could be other customers across the Air Force, like our SOCOM command as well. But again, these are the major areas, the sectors of research that we conduct inside AFRL, covering a variety of technologies and capabilities for both our space and Air Force customer. Next slide. So as you would expect with any kind of research laboratory, regardless of where you go, looking at national laboratories, even major tier 1 universities that have research institutions, we have some very unique capabilities inside AFRL and some programs that we work here. And so some of these are some of the programs that we have initiated through a lot of the research work that we do inside the Air Force, as well as what we're doing for the Space Force. So again, these are just high-level identifications of some of the things that we have fostered a lot of the R&D and supported a lot of the maturation of technologies and capabilities to support these types of capabilities that are now serving both our airmen and our guardians out in the field. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we have AFRL here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. If you were to reference the previous slide where I showed how we set underneath the MAJCOM AFMC, but AFRL has a number of locations across the United States in which we operate. So if you were to go back 2 slides before where I was showcasing a little bit of the technology areas that are conducted inside of our technical directorates, these locations are where our technical directorates are located. So if you were to go out at Kirkland Air Force Base, that is where our directed energy and our space vehicles directorate is located. So again, looking at directed energy, what can we use? How can we exploit and strengthen the use of high intensity laser to put effects upon our targets from a deterrence or from an aggressive measure? Again, Space Vehicles Directorate works very cohesively with the Space Force and Space Command. If you travel down to, I'd say, Eglin Air Force Base down in Florida, that is our AFRL weapons center, and that munitions and weapons center. And this is again where we're looking at conventional munitions and weaponry to better equip and support our Air Force needs. If you go up into Arlington, Virginia, that is where our Air Force Office of Scientific Research is located. And then also, if you travel further north up into New York region, I'm assuming many of you are very familiar with our Rome installation site, which is called RI. But again, that's where we do a lot of our cyber computing, cyber networking, artificial intelligence, software radio type works. There's a number of areas of information, data, and computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning capabilities that we produce up in that area of New York. And then here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is where you would see the remaining directorates, technology directorates, such as our Sensors Directorate, our Human Performance Wing, our Materials Research, our Aerospace Vehicles. So many of those are located here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But again, AFRL, much like AFMC, has many components that sit underneath it, and we do work very cohesively. And so from a small business perspective, as you're thinking about working with AFRL, this should give you a little bit of a snapshot or idea if you're focused in space technologies, or maybe you have interest in engaging and collaborating and working in areas of directed energy. That may not be Wright-Patterson Air Force Base that you'd want to be reaching out to. It would most likely be Kirkland Air Force Base. Or if it's looking at cyber technologies, whether it's information, data, or computing, artificial intelligence, software-defined radios, et cetera, that might be more of a relationship you want to start building with the Rome laboratory that we have as part of AFRL. So again, this is really to help you have a visual of where our research work is occurring within each of our technology directorates comprised in AFRL. Many of these other sites that you see here are other supportive sites of AFRL, more so from a testing perspective. So down in Arnold Air Force Base is where we have a lot of our wind tunnel testing conducted. Edwards Air Force Base is obviously where the Air Force Test Center is located, but that is also where we have a component for testing a lot of our capabilities on live aircraft out there as well. And beyond what we showcase here for the United States, we also do have international presence in London, in Tokyo, Japan, as well as Santiago, Chile. So again, we have both a domestic and we also have an international presence to ensure that we are tapping in and working with researchers from the best and the brightest that we are enabled to do. So next slide. So this is a little bit about the AFRL Small Business Program Office. So we are one of many small business offices across the Air Force. If you start off at the Secretary of the Air Force level, which is at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., that is where our primary Office of Small Business is located. Each of our MAGCOMs, and as you looked at that early chart where I showed the organizational structure, each of the MAGCOMs, many of the Air Force organizations across the Air Force, to include all of our centers, have a small business office. And if you want to get more information on who to contact at those various offices at the Air Force levels, I will have that information presented to you here later in this presentation. But our primary mission is to support you. And that's the bottom line, what we're here to do. And we do that both internally and externally. So from an internal perspective, we have small business professionals. These are trained professionals that are experts in acquisitions, and they work hand in hand with our contracting officers located at our acquisition sites. And so on the map that you see there, again, is a location where we have the majority of our technology directorates located. Each of those locations have an acquisition office. And I'll give you a little bit more information on that later on how to identify those in SAM.gov. But the important thing to understand here is that we have actually a person who is sitting side by side with our acquisition teams, so that as requirements are coming through AFRL, going to our individual technology directorates to look at what is the acquisition strategy that we want to pursue for these requirements, our small business professional is there to be your advocate, is to ensure that our small businesses that are providing innovative, agile, cost savings capabilities are considered on all of our acquisitions. So they are there to be your advocate to look at how can we potentially maybe make these requirements that are coming through a small business set aside to better support our small business innovation provider base. In addition to that, we support our small businesses externally as well. And we do that by doing a lot of the one-on-one engagements, attending a number of conferences and events. I believe many of you today that are here listening to this presentation have already probably scheduled some time to meet with our small business professionals to have those one-on-one discussions to learn more about opportunities, but more importantly, for us to learn more about who you are and what you do. Again, that's how it helps us to become better advocates for you, is by having that engagement, having that collaboration with you, better understanding what your capabilities are and what sets you apart from the competition. Because as these requirements come down, and we are sitting here advocating for small businesses as looking at, could this be a small business set aside? Or there are special conditions that we want to submit into subcontracting plans. It's valuable, it's extremely valuable for us to better understand who those companies are out there so that we can better advocate for you. So again, attending events like this, having those one-on-one sessions with our small business professionals is a key strategy piece to developing your business plan, because they're not only going to help be an advocate for you at the table when it comes time to identify our acquisition strategy, but they're also going to be able to put you in contact with AFRL scientists and engineers in areas that you want to have further discussion on as well. So it's a great opportunity to get to know who your small business professional is in those areas that you want to conduct research or have further engagement with AFRL, and start building those relationships up with them. We also, in the small business office, have a number of training programs that we do both internally to ensure that our acquisition workforce are up to speed on the latest and greatest small business policies that are being issued out of the SBA. But more importantly, we also have some innovative programs that are equipped to train small businesses to help them become more proficient and more successful in achieving opportunities with AFRL as well. And I'll share one of those here in a few minutes in a forthcoming slide. If you have any questions to our small business office for AFRL, please visit the link that we have down there below. That takes you directly to our staff here at headquarters AFRL. And we have a team that is very responsive and getting back to you very quickly with regard to your questions or setting them up a time to meet with you to discuss who you are, what you do, and what opportunities you're interested in seeking with AFRL. Next slide, please. So we are still, I was hopeful that we'd have FY25 execution numbers for you guys. We are still going through the finalization of all the numbers. I will tell you that what we are going to probably see for this year is not much different than what we saw for last year with regards to what dollars were executed. But this is really trying to show you the amount of dollars that AFRL has to spend on any requirement, the amount of dollars that are spent towards small businesses. And so if you look at our portfolio, it's a little bit less than 50% of what our total spend dollars are. The pie chart on the left gives you a better idea of what is the primary area of requirements that we procure from the small business ecosystem. Again, we're heavy R&D, so as you would expect, 69%, if not a little bit more, is heavy in R&D type requirements. The other big area for us is services. We do acquire a lot of services across all of our locations for AFRL, even at the headquarters level. I would say from a product perspective, we're not a big consumer of products, but we do actually have some that we do procure. So again, we meet all the different variances of small business capabilities and offerings. But again, this just gives you kind of a snapshot look of where we were last year. Again, probably pretty similar to where we are this year. And then again, as I look at that $2.2 billion that you see there on the right for small business spend, I wanted to be very clear that our total dollar amount that we account for does include the SBIR program as well. So if you look at that, you can see SBIR dollars, I'm sorry, about 50% of what we spend in small business is allocated through the SBIR program. The other 50%, which is about maybe 1.1 billion or 1 billion, is direct awards to small businesses outside of the SBIR program. So that's a huge amount of dollars that is going to small business above and beyond what the Air Force already provides to small businesses through the SBIR program. So again, I look at AFRL as being a huge opportunity for small businesses, especially those that are in A&AS type services, and also those that are doing, I'd say, R&D and S&T type research or S&T development of technologies. Again, I believe there is a huge connection between those type of companies and AFRL with regards to opportunities both now, midterm, and even far term in the future. Next slide, please. This again is just a snapshot of FY24, but again, I will tell you that FY25 is going to be almost identical mirror of this. These are the top NAICS codes and PSC codes that we procure both from an R&D perspective and a services perspective. I'm not going to take your time and go down through all these, but as you're looking at your NAICS codes and your PSC codes, this again is another great opportunity to kind of look at how well do you align to those common areas that we procure inside AFRL. So again, this is meant to be a helpful tool for small businesses as they are considering both working with the work they're doing with us currently, as well as the work they are looking at doing with us in the future. Next slide. So again, this is kind of a reflection of that, maybe the first or second slide that I showed earlier. Again, as I mentioned, each of the Air Force organizations that we have on this chart, and there's a lot that I don't have on this chart, all have small business offices. And so again, this is just to give you an idea. Underneath the AFMC construct, Mr. Luke Schultz is our Director of Small Business for the command, and he is also the Director of Small Business for the Lifecycle Management Center. But these are the POCs, the directors for each of the centers that fall underneath Air Force Material Command. So again, it's just another continuity point, another connection point for you all in case you want to have further discussions with us. This could be another way to get engaged, just by reaching out to the directors or to their websites, like I presented in an earlier slide. Next slide, please. I guess, actually, going back to that previous slide real quick, one of the things I just really, again, wanted to highlight is there's a number of times that we connect with a small business, and we are happy to do so, to meet with anybody and everybody. But there's often times where their capabilities or their solutions just don't align to AFRL, the things that we buy. And so because we have such a strong, close relationship underneath AFMC with all these other centers, we can generally get you connected into the right person within the other center so that you can have that continued conversation with regards to your pursuit of supporting the Air Force. So again, that's one of the things I wanted to highlight here is we have a very strong network of folks that work closely together, and we are supporting each other as we engage with small businesses, because in the end, what we're trying to do is really bring you all to the table to support the greater good of the Air Force, not just our individual center, but the greater good of all our Air Force organizations. So the more we can get you connected out there, the better it is for you and the better it is for us in the end. Next slide. So again, this is where I want to kind of shift a little bit of focus over to opportunities to engage. You'll see up here on the top and highlighted in green, we have a brand new program that we're launching. It's called Acquisition Technology Acceleration Program, or short, ACTAP. This program is an external training program. It is free for small businesses to join. We are looking for those small businesses that are not trying to pursue a SBIR sitter, but have been trying to pursue a direct award with AFRL, meaning that you've gone out to SAM, you have applied, you've responded to solicitations with your proposals, and you just have not had success in getting anywhere with direct award opportunities with AFRL beyond maybe SBIR sitters. This is an opportunity for you to go through a training program where you're going to be hearing directly from our acquisition folks, those that are actually reviewing proposals that are coming in, identifying what are some of the things they're seeing that causes a small business not to succeed in that competitive review with other small businesses. What are some helpful hints to help give you maybe more of an edge, or help increase your understanding of the FAR, or understanding of how you need to differentiate yourself, how to strengthen your capability statement. Those type of things that are very critical to our acquisition process. So we are going to be launching our first cohort in January. We do not have the information disseminated yet, but it'll be coming out here probably within the next 2 weeks to seek registrants for that. I believe we may have something out on sam.gov that will be advertising this as well. But please be looking for this. We're going to be communicating this out to our Apex accelerators. So again, just because you are tied into this Apex Accelerator event, you should be able to get the notification of this opportunity as it becomes available here very, very soon. But beyond that, I wanted just to highlight some other things that we have pertinent to the AFRL Small Business Office and some of the other partnering opportunities that we have within AFRL as well. We have an AFRL Small Business Hub. Now I will tell you right now, it is going through a transition. So it is offline right now, temporarily out of service, but it will be back online here soon. But it contains a plethora of information, irregardless of where you're at as a small business, whether you're a brand new start, whether you've been there and been doing that for a little while, whether you have been successful in working SBIRs, and maybe you've been a subcontractor on some prime contracts, working with primes. This gives you helpful information to navigate where you want to go next. One of the other things that we have out on the site, again, not available right now, but it will be once again, are a number of collider events. And these are tailored events specific to different aspects of acquisition or different programs that we have across the Air Force that are supportive of small businesses, such as the Mentorship Protege Program, joint ventures, other unique areas. It could be, how we handle financial transactions. So you better understand the timelines and expectations, some acquisition specifics to, submitting your proposal and what happens behind the scenes. So a number of collider events are really targeted to look at different aspects of the acquisition process and provide that information, training, and give you an opportunity to do a Q&A with some of the experts that are actually supporting those offices within the Air Force. So again, we should have all that information back online here probably within the next month. So again, be looking out for that. And once it becomes out online, we will get that information out to you. Obviously, SAM.gov is the go-to for most all of you if you're looking for opportunities to work with any of the Air Force organizations that I showed on the previous charts. Or if you're looking, for grants or other BAA type announcements, I will tell you here at AFRL from an R&D perspective, a lot of our R&D is issued out in BAAs. So again, going out to SAM.gov is going to give you insights into what those opportunities are and how to respond to those opportunities. But at the end of this briefing, I'll give you some helpful hints on how to do that. AFWERX, as I mentioned before, AFWERX is again central to a lot of the small business innovative research that is done across the Air Force. We work very cohesively with the AFWERX program office, but we are not the AFWERX program office, just to make that clear, but we do work very closely with them. As many of you know, or probably have heard, that the superseded authorization has lapsed, and that occurred on October 1st of this year. And so AFWERX and SpaceWorks right now are currently pausing all external event attendance, conferences, trade shows, panels, and speaking engagements until program is reauthorized. I would encourage you, if you have any questions with regards to the superseded program or any of the AFWERX programs, please reach out to the afwerx.com/contact link, or go directly out to afwerx.com to get more information on how to get connected and how to ask questions out there. We are hopeful that the reauthorization will occur here soon, so it's back up and running as normal. But until that time, that is the current state of situation that I was informed to extend out to you all. One of the other opportunities we have in the Small Business Program Office here at AFRL, it's unique to Ohio. It's called the Ohio Federal Research Network. So if you're a small business positioned here in the state of Ohio, this is a great opportunity for you to leverage state funds to win a small teaming award that gets you an opportunity to work directly with AFRL. Now, in some cases, may not be just to AFRL. It could be also NASA Glenn up in Cleveland. It could also be in conjunction with NASIC, which is our intelligence center here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, or it could be the Navy Aerospace Medical Research Unit here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base as well. All those four entities that I named are federal partners of the Ohio Federal Research Network, and we come together every 2 years, putting together our requirements to solicit out to the small business ecosystem in the state of Ohio to partner with universities to bring forth technology solutions back to our needs and requirements. So again, if you are an Ohio-based small business, I would highly encourage you to look into the Ohio Federal Research Network, and you can go find information on that at ohiofrn.org. Joey, can you scroll down? I can't see what's at the bottom of. There we go. There we go. Hold on a second. I'm going to catch up with you on my own slides here. So, all right. So the Air Force Mentor Protege program, I mentioned that we had a collider event that really dove into the Mentor Protege program. We actually had representation from the staff level that runs the Mentor Protege program for the Air Force. And we also had a number of prime contractors and let me say it a different way. We had a number of mentors and we had a number of proteges that actually attended this collider event to share their experience of the Mentor Protege program and some of the nuances of it and what they saw as being the positives and maybe some of the negatives of the program. But I will tell you, there was a lot of positives that were associated with this. So again, if you haven't experienced or if you haven't looked into the Mentor Protege program, this is a program that is helping small businesses become more capable of becoming a prime contractor. And the purpose of the mentor is to be that prime contractor who's been there and done that as a small business, that they can help tutor and support you in your pursuit of doing the same thing. So it is I'd say an underutilized program within the Air Force, but it is a very effective program in many ways. So again, please, if you haven't looked into that, take some time to check that out. Next slide. So the next slide is really just the statement I just made to you with regards to AFWorks. Again, if you have any questions with regards to future sitter solicitations, maybe attendance at different conferences, etc., please reach out to the contact information link that you see here, and they should be able to give you the information you're seeking. Next slide. So I mentioned not only do we have a number of small business programs that we make available to the small business ecosystem, there's a number of other pathways, partnering opportunities that we have at our disposal also here within AFRL. One of those is the Air Force and Space Force Tech Connect capability. That is an online tool. It is a resource for anybody and everybody who has an idea. We are interested in hearing ideas that are S&T, science and technology oriented. It's an opportunity for you to share your idea to see if it's something of interest to AFRL, and if the interest is positive, then it also gives you an opportunity to make a connection with one of our subject matter experts inside AFRL to have further collaboration on what ways could that technology or could that idea be further matured or branched out on, or possibly integrated with maybe some things that we are working on inside the laboratory. So again, it's a free online capability. I think it asks maybe 5 questions, maybe 6, as you go through and submit your idea. But again, it's another useful tool just to get connected, right? And as a small business, that's what you want. You want to have opportunities to connect, to engage, and to collaborate. And this is one of the ways that we do this as well. Outside of having the one-on-one engagements with our small business professionals, outside of having those engagements through different conferences and events, this is another mechanism that you guys have at your disposal to leverage to get connected also. One of the other things that we have stood up, now we are going into our 4th year, is the AFRL Regional Network. We have 2 regional networks. One stood up in the Midwest. Purdue University is our partner in that. In the Mid-Atlantic, we have Cornell University, who is our partner. And when I say partners, their responsibility is to help build out and build up the network for each of those regions. So within the Midwest and within the Mid-Atlantic, our partners are seeking small businesses. They're looking at large businesses. They're looking at venture capitalists. They're looking at other government laboratories to come in and become members of the network. And what we do through this is AFRL submits ideas or submits needs into the networks. It's almost kind of like a consortia type of process, but we submit ideas or needs into these networks, and we have a competition to where industry partners up with universities, maybe a venture firm or other government organizations, and through the partnerships that they create externally, we couple that partnership with us to form a cross-functional partnership between AFRL and that team to work a project that lasts anywhere between 1 year to almost 2 years. Now, it's not a huge dollar amount of money, but I say the big value proposition is the opportunity to get connected, to start better understanding the needs of AFRL, what those areas of the challenges that we have, what are some of the maybe the near or midterm needs we have that you may have a solution for. But it's, again, another opportunity for us to become better versed and knowledgeable of who you are and the capabilities and technologies that you bring to bear. So again, it's there's a little bit of a stipend as being an awardee of a project within the network, but I'd say the big bang is just the opportunity to get connected and start forming those relationships, building that network out that you need to have from a business planning perspective as well. We also have a program office here called DAF-T3, that stands for Technology Transfer and Transition. And this is an authorization that we have that enables us to do a number of partnering agreements with universities, with industry, with government as well. So if you've heard the term of CRADAs, CRADA is an opportunity that enables you to have maybe a deeper dialogue relationship with AFRL, to where you can get into some specific areas of technology that you are going to start working, but wanting to have that close collaboration with AFRL to ensure that what you're working on is meeting the needs or is in line with the requirement gaps that we currently have today. There's educational partnering agreements. There's about 13 to 14 different types of agreements that we have out there that covers anything from patent license agreements. So again, we created an awful lot of intellectual property, inside AFRL. And in many cases, we make a lot of that intellectual property available through patenting it and providing opportunities for small businesses to acquire that patent through patent license agreements. And so we administer a lot of that as well. So again, if you think about your technology area, there could be also work that we've done in AFRL that we have already produced the IP and we've gone through the patent process, making it available. It's an opportunity for you to maybe look at that patentable IP and see, is there ways to integrate that in with your technology area to make it even more effective to meeting the heir or guardian warfighter needs. So again, great opportunities that we have just from a partnering perspective. And lastly, we have partnership intermediary agreements. Those are called PIAs. We have a number of those postured across the United States. I'd say primarily if you go to an AFRL location that I showed you on one of the earlier maps, you will find a PIA there. Apex PIA is one of those that is located here in Ohio. We've got the Griffiths Institute in Rome, New York, in Avare. You've got Nice Tech out in Albuquerque. We've got the Kirkland Research Institutes. We've got the BRIC, which is located in Washington, D.C. And we've got the Doolittle Institute that is down at Eglin Air Force Base. So again, these are intermediaries, meaning that they are there. Their purpose is to support tech transfer and support tech transition. And so they are a continuity piece for you as well. If you're wanting to look to engage with a PIA to learn more, possibly about maybe some gap areas that AFRL is pursuing, this could be another opportunity space for you to connect with them, to get you connected further inside AFRL or with the right representatives that can get you connected to the folks that are conducting that research. So again, DAF-T3 has a number of capabilities and opportunities for you to get connected. And again, lastly, I talk about the Defense Innovation Marketplace. These again are other ways that we leverage industry's investment in R&D. So if you have heard of the IRAD program, as the IR&D program, that is a program that enables industry members to engage with AFRL in at a more closer level to better understand those big areas of technology and research that we are pursuing in the future that we may not have the money right now to put on the table for that, but we will in the future because it's part of our planning process. And so this gives industry insights of where we are going as a research laboratory in support of both the Air and Space Force. So again, that is another great place to get connected through the Defense Innovation Marketplace if you are a producer of IR&D. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, there we go. So again, I just want to kind of give some just helpful recommendations. Again, maybe this is kind of old news. You've seen, been there, done this, but again, these are some just the things that we think are helpful as small businesses started to engage with AFRL. Just again, leveraging the helpful tips, and you're going to get some more helpful tips here after we get past this slide. But leverage the opportunities that we have, the connection points, the resources, the websites, the different programs that we are making available out there. Please use those as much as you possibly can, because these are all meant to help open doors and provide you more insights and make you more aware of opportunities that are coming down in the near future. I would say really look at yourself. Look at yourself, and you're going to probably hear this from the small business professionals that you're meeting with today. You need to look at how you differentiate yourself from the competition. So first, you have to look at your technology areas, or what kind of services or solutions you're providing to AFRL, and are those the type of things that we really are interested in? That's number one. Number two is understand the fact that there's a lot of other companies out there that are probably trying to do the same thing, trying to get their foot in the door, trying to convince AFRL or showcase their capabilities, their solutions, or their services to AFRL. So again, one of the important things that we really request small businesses do is really look at what differentiates you from your competition, and make sure you have that on your capability statement. You got to throw that in our face, and you got to be speaking to that with so much enthusiasm and conviction. That's going to capture our attention, not only during the first engagement, but even as we go through and we do our market research. We are always looking at capability statements in our market research to make a determination: are there small businesses out there in the ecosystem that can meet this requirement? And if so, who are those that seem to be have the most capabilities, or the strengths in those capabilities? So that's where your capability statement is really, really powerful. Again, stay on top of where we're going with regards to our different events and conferences in the future. It's another opportunity just to casually stop by, make a connection, to start building that relationship. And I will tell you that we are here to serve every single one of you. It doesn't matter if you are a one-person small business or you're a 499-person small business. We are here. We want to hear from you. We want to support you in whatever way we can. Again, if it's getting you connected, if it's supporting you maybe with some challenges that you're incurring through the acquisition process, please reach out to us, because that's what we're here for, is to help you become successful and helping us become successful for our customers. Next slide, please. So lastly, I think where we're transitioning next is I want to give you some helpful tips. And this is more per se in utilizing sam.gov. But the first, if we can go to the next slide, Joey. If you're not aware, within the Air Force, all the acquisition sites, and I talked a little bit more about our acquisition sites that are at Kirkland Air Force Base, Eglin, Washington, D.C., Wright-Patt, Rome, New York. We have what are called DODACs, DODAC codes. And if you see this list, generally that's what you see as a start of a contract number, right? But that's really a location. That's a locator code of where is that acquisition actually taking place. And so these codes here are meant to be helpful to you, so you better understand what DODACs are for which location. So if you're interested in working with Kirkland Air Force Base, let's say, for example, because you have a vested interest in pursuing maybe directed energy solutions or space vehicle solutions, you would not come to Wright-Patt. You would not be going out and querying the Wright-Patt DODACs. You would want to be querying the Kirkland Air Force Base DODACs. And so we have provided a comprehensive list of all the DODACs for each of our acquisition sites, so that as you're considering where you want to work, who you want to work with, and what you want to work on, these DODACs will help you navigate sam.gov to where you can actually set sam.gov up to create an automated notification for you, so that as new solicitations come out, or any new information that comes out from any of these DODACs, if that DODAC is on your hit list of that you have an interest in, it will notify you that new information has been made available. So you're getting quick insights into new acquisitions that are either looking for source of SOT or requesting information, or it's actually a full-fledged solicitation that's coming out soon. So I would highly encourage you to go through this DODEC list, familiarize yourself with it. These later slides that we have after this, it's just kind of showing you step by step how to go through sam.gov and set up a search, and how to set up some of that automation to support you in getting that insider knowledge of acquisitions that are forthcoming out of AFRL. Now, I can tell you that you could probably reach out to any of the other centers that I showed on the earlier slides, and they will have their list of DODECs as well. So again, if you see that you're more oriented to maybe sustainment solutions, or you create testing capabilities, or maybe you work more cohesively with prime contractors at the LCMC PEO level, I would encourage you to reach out to those directors that I had on the slides or earlier, and ask them, what their DODECs are, so that can be some more information that you would have at your disposal to help give you kind of that edge on new opportunities that are coming out. So again, this is just again a snapshot of the small business offices and some of the contact information on how to get in contact with them with any kind of questions or information that you would like to get from those offices. I really hope this information has been helpful for you. I really encourage you just to lean on this information and lean on us. That is what we're here for, to be your advocates. So thank you for attending this. I am open for any questions. I will do my best to answer those as best I can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your time today. We do have a few questions that we'll try to get through here. We'll start off with an easy one. Is it possible, and it might be through the contacts you've already shared, but is there like a listing of the mentor protege program handlers within Air Force Research or AFMC, or just overall?
Yeah. So if you go out to the mentor protege program at SAF SB level, they should have a list of who the current mentors are that have been approved to be mentors across the Air Force. So that is a great resource to get to. I don't think I actually have a link in here, but if you just go out to Air Force Office of Small Business, that'll take you directly to the SAF SB. I'm sorry, that's the small business website at the Pentagon. And on one of the menu items, they will have mentor protege, and that will give you insight, connection point, who to contact on that program. But more importantly, I believe they have that information that you just asked for publicly available out there on that website as well.
So thank you. Another question here for you. If a small business project spans both machine learning and artificial intelligence and space vehicles, so it's kind of spanning multiple tech areas, is it possible to build relationships with multiple AFRL directorates or programs at once? And how should we approach that?
Yeah, great question. And the answer to it is yes. I would highly encourage you to build those cross-lateral relationships with those institutions inside AFRL that are working those areas. I will tell you that AFRL is going through a reorganization structure. While I can't share any details on what that's going to look like, what I will tell you is this question is perfect, because as you think of these areas of technology that have cross relationship with what we do inside AFRL, you mentioned AI that crosses into aspects of ML that could potentially have aspects of space vehicles, right? This is the whole purpose of the reorganization, is to better blend a lot of these different capabilities to where we have synergies and cross connections. So what you will see probably in the future is a structure that is going to be more conducive to giving you maybe more of a a central point of contact rather than maybe two or three. But I would highly encourage you to be reaching out. You mentioned space vehicles, so we can get you connected into Kirkland Air Force Base, AIML. That can be both here at RIPAT, but I'd say probably possibly over at Rome, New York as well. So we can get you insights, get you connected to folks to start having those collaborations, and probably what you're going to see is there's already some connection points already established across those seams that you just mentioned that will give you, I would say, a greater opportunity to talk more about your solution or your technology space or the R&D that you're conducting to meet some of those areas.
Perfect. One other question here for you before we start to wrap up. I'm not sure if you're able to speak to this or not, but on Tech Connect, if a company shares an idea that reflects an existing market-ready solution developed by said company, can you speak at all to how the intellectual property ownership is handled? I guess, can you confirm that, if they share an idea through Tech Connect, they're not giving up any IP rights or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah, here's what I will tell you on that. And that's a great question too. Like with anything, you want to be careful what you're sharing, right? I would say as you're leveraging Tech Connect, I would keep it at a level that does not compromise your IP, but still enables you to convey the technology, the idea across to the SME. When you get connected internally, so if there's interest inside AFRL and they want to have further collaborations, then this is where agreements come into play that can protect your IP through the collaborations that you would have internally. And again, as that relationship continues to mature and blossom, if one actually does occur, this is where contractually you're going to be protected as well. So I would, you're not going to expose the secret sauce as you submit something into Tech Connect, but you're going to want to provide it at a level that gets your idea across, but at the same time doesn't expose your IP to an area that could be potentially compromised.
So thank you. One other question here. Is it possible to commercialize an IP after doing all the R&D work, through through AFRL, through a contract or SBIR, et cetera? And if so, how long would it wait for commercialization? So I guess kind of goes into, would the Air Force own the IP or would the company own the IP? And then it might even go into, licensing technologies from Air Force.
Boy, good question. And I'm not an IP attorney to give you a legitimate response to that. I guess what I can tell you is, as you start working with AFRL through a contract, there are going to be specific contract clauses in there that depicts what part of the research work that is being done collaboratively between yourself and AFRL as AFRL IP and company IP. I would tell you, again, I don't know for sure the right legal answer to that. Obviously, there's going to be intellectual property that's going to be developed on the AFRL side of the house. And again, based upon the terms of the contract, it's going to be up to the business as to whether or not, AFRL becomes more of an owner-occupier of that IP, or they continue to protect that. If you think about it from a sitter perspective, I believe, your IP is protected. I believe it's up to I forget how many years it is. It's quite a few years before government can claim any kind of ownership over that. So again, it's really going to be underneath the terms of the contract. But with regards to commercializing the IP after working on a project with AFRL, I think the small business itself is always going to have an opportunity to seek commercialization of their IP as it further matures, whether it's collaborative, with an Air Force organization, or whether it's just independently. But again, I don't know the in and outs of IP law. I would believe that there's certain things that will protect your IP as well as the government's IP with regards to those commercialization opportunity spaces. So that's a great question. I don't think I gave you a good answer. At least I don't feel it's a good answer. But I would actually, I would address that with contracting. You can always reach out to a contracting officer within the Air Force, and they can give you a little more probably fidelity of an answer to that. Or you can reach out to our patent attorneys that we have inside the Air Force as well. And if you need that kind of contact information, we can get that for you to where you can express that question and see what kind of response you get back on that. So again, it's another opportunity to use small business professional, get you connected inside. Question like that might go to a patent attorney or it could go to a contracting officer, but we can help out with that.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much, sir. That's a very good answer. And I'd add to a couple of things. One, the U.S. Patent and Trade Office, USPTO, they're a free resource to explore IP rights and things of that nature. But no, you hit the nail right on the head. We always tell our clients that IP rights, especially in the SBIR program, it's a negotiation. It's a negotiation aspect of the contract and the agreement. And we also, keep in mind, the reason the government is funding the R&D is they want to utilize the technology at some point. So it may be dual use or it may be a single use, for the government. But either way, if you're doing the R&D, this progresses ideally into a commercialization contract where you are then, providing the completed, product or service or whatever form that innovation takes to the government. So it's very in depth and can get in a lot of weeds. So thank you, sir. That's very much appreciated. I know we are a little bit over time, so I want to thank you once again, sir, for your time this afternoon, for joining us and sharing tips and all the information with doing business with Air Force Research Labs. Really appreciate you making the time, especially right before the holidays and with everything else going on. So you and your team are truly appreciated.
All right. Well, thank you, Joey, and thanks for everybody, Anna, everybody who set up this Tri-State Apex Accelerator, and for all the folks that attended this breakout session. Really appreciate you all. Thank you.
For all of you in our audience, thank you for your time today and yesterday if you joined us for both days. Really appreciate you being here as well. We wouldn't have these events without you. And so please, take time to connect with each other through the matchmaking portal, connect with the potential buyers. As we wrap up today, the final session, general session, and the final matchmaking sessions, I want to take a moment to once again thank you and wish you all a wonderful holiday season. And please, keep in contact with each other and all the connections you made, but also your local Apex accelerators. So we are always here to help. So with that, thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good, an amazing holiday season. Take care.